if there is one thing you need to understand about social media, really, is that everyone becomes an expert overnight in whatever hot topic that there is. And in particular, in Financial X or FinX world, which this segment focuses on, that's heavily true. There's a lot of fake gurus, so-called self-proclaimed gurus out there that push all of these names and push P&L and show their profits and their curves, their profit curves and these percentages, and says, I'm amazing at all these things, right? It is easy when the market is easy. This market's not easy, right? This is the time where you're going to see those professionals overnight in whatever topic might be hot at that point in time slowly disappear. I think we are starting to get some sort of a selling period, especially of these stronger names that have been very momentum based across the market, in particular invested and related to the AI segment. So we're going to go through these names that have been hot topics on Financial X, and we're going to look at those levels, and we're going to look at areas where we should be, where we should probably step off or step back away from, and just being mindful of who you actually listen to. So firstly, Nvidia, you can see Nvidia is just chopping around in range, not doing anything. I think it hits this 200 EMA, that's around 173. I have an alert here because what I would be interested in a potential short-term trade, a bounce trade, if it hits this 200 EMA, or even undercuts this area here, this 170 to 169 level, maybe like 167 or so, undercuts it, pushes down, fails to move lower, and then comes back up for a quick little bounce. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, Nvidia is not doing anything. Tesla, same thing. I drew an uptrend line for you folks that look at that stuff. This is starting to break, right? But really, in the grand scheme of things, is Tesla doing anything? No, it's not. We're at a level of interest where prior support held. So we bounce off of that again. We're right at the 200 EMA, and it's continuing on down. The 21 and the 8 EMAs are trending down. The 50 is going down. The 200 is starting to flatten. So this is an area of interest. But if the market starts rolling over, Tesla could start rolling over. Micron has hit a huge move, right? This is why we don't necessarily chase these things. So from the low of April 25 to the highs, it has made a 622% move within 308 trading days, right? So let's just go from this little consolidation area, tag the 50 EMA, and then it started to move. Let's just go from, actually, let's go from this low, okay? From there to Friday, it made a 91% move. But to the top, it made a 135% move. It is now 18% off the 19% off the all-time highs. If this, it's at a confluence area right now. It is at a prior support area. It is also at the inclining, or actually flattening, 50 EMA. For those that pay attention, we have an 8 and 21 pinch to the downside. So a lot of people, this is a short trigger for them. So we might get a lot of shorts in here, or shorts starting to pile on. If this breaks, these traders that are long up here, or investors, whomever you are, they are in quote unquote underwater, they're going to be under pressure. There's a swing low right here at Wednesday, February 4th of 363.90. So watch for that to be cut, undercut that is, and you look for two separate scenarios. It's either going to undercut and fail. So it's going to take out this low right here. It's going to go down and say, oops, nope, not enough supply from these guys up here, and come back within range. Or option number two, it says we come down, we get the initial short covering, and then these people that are up here, they're like, oh, here's our chance. We don't get to sell it down here. We get to sell it back up here, where initially that now let's sell, and we start to get a downtrend. Ultimately, this might head to 250, where the 200 EMA is currently, but there's a scenario for you for Micron. Rocket Lab, big picture in Rocket Lab, it's chopping around. Honestly, I would get out of the way, especially if it breaks these lows right here of 63.87, 64.10. So just be mindful of these lows here. If with continued overall market weakness, it's probably going to break that. And guess what? The 200 EMA is 56. So that's a decent percentage move down if it goes, if it continues lower. ASTS broke this consolidation area. It looks okay for now. It is at that retest point for the consolidation area. However, it's at an area that it kind of needs to hold at. If it doesn't hold, it's probably going to travel down to 78 again. And if not there, you can look at these levels over here. Then you basically go to 69, which is near the 200 EMA. But overall, it doesn't look good. SNDK, I said a while ago, eventually this is going to be a good short. It's looking like that might be now. We have an 8-21 pinch right here occurring on Friday. Monday might confirm that and actually make the 8 EMA cross the 21. We do have the 50 EMA inclining to flattening currently. That might provide a little bit of support, a little bit of a bounce. But overall, it might head a little bit lower. So don't be shocked. You know, if it does head lower, you can look at this 450. That was this area right here of prior support. Let me just draw this out so it's easy for you to see how quickly this plans out. This thing moves, so this can happen really quickly. This is also why you need to manage your risk. This is why you need to have your stops in and respect them. This is why you need to have a plan, because it's already 28% off of all-time highs. It reversed rather quickly. Right? Is that the all-time high there? Well, there's 36%, 37% just from that move. So this thing moves. IREN, IREN. This doesn't look good. This doesn't look good to me. If it breaks this swing low, which it has not yet, 36.52 versus 36.67, my educated guess closing at the lows, 3 cents off the low of the day. This is probably going to gap down Monday. And then now you have all of this. It's at the 200 EMA that makes it fail, right? Then those are the hottest ones of this week. I'm keeping a history of the FinX things names just so we can have an idea of how things progress and move along, and give an example of why you should not necessarily just blindly listen to people. You have to manage. You can't just buy stuff and become a bag holder and hold on forever. If you're going to trade, you have to trade it. You have to have a plan and manage your risk. End of story. TSM, this is 13% off of all-time highs right now. It got hit, closed below the 50 EMA. Looks like it's probably heading to 318 or so. I think it still has more downside. BE, it was chopping around where it needed to. It is starting to fail to hold that area, but really, it's just in one big zone right now, big range. I wouldn't be super worried about it until if it broke and held below this low here of 131 flat. This has a chance to go to 200 EMA. I wouldn't be shocked. RGTI not doing anything, holding below the short-term EMAs. MSTR, it popped out of this consolidation range right here. I'll draw a little box for you here. It's at a level, an area of interest, but it needs to get out of there rather quickly. What did it do? It popped up to the declining up here, 50 EMA, sold off, came back into this range, right? Sold off. So now it's doing something similar. Range, popped out of it, failed near the 50 EMA, coming back in range. Do we see more downside? I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if we did, though. ONDS continues to fail every time it tries to make a move above 11 bucks or so. Just falls into this range, closing near low of day. Wouldn't be shocked if it heads lower. Another one, NBIS, continues to range, continues to fail to move. Zeta, Zeta. I marked this one around here. Look below this level here, consolidated, and now it's back within this range. So it looks relatively strong, but it's not moving. It's just in range, chopping around. LRCX, this one kind of fell out of bed, tried to break to all-time highs, and then it got crushed. So this, I would probably say this is heading to the 200 EMA, right around this level at 160. So this has more downside to it, I think. But first, maybe you can look at this area here. And then we can look at this area here where it kind of broke out, tested. Maybe over the next couple of days, the 200 EMA would be around that area. We shall see. But overall, I would not try to catch a falling knife. Path is at an interesting area to where this could be a potential good area to short again, as it broke down out of this huge range here, came back into it right here, and then failed to accept back in. So now it's bouncing, probably going to set a lower high, maybe around the 50 EMA, this 1290, 1280 area, just below this 1334. So looking lower, in my opinion. CoreWeave doesn't look the best, looks lower. If it breaks this low, I would just get out of the way of 6380. It probably bounces there because that's just where prior support was. But if it breaks and stays below it, I would watch out. RKT, Rocket Companies has gotten crushed. It is now below this prior support area. I would just be very mindful. This could be a quote unquote bear trap where it says, oops, people stop selling here and it bounces back into the big old chop zone here. But really, this could potentially just be just more chop. Honestly, it'll probably find more supply. Odds are, I think, are downwards, right? So I wouldn't be trying to catch that either. Planet Labs, it doesn't look, it's just chopping. This isn't moving. It's super whippy, especially intraday. So maybe you can day trade this thing, but you can't swing trade this. It's not worth it. The mental energy is just wasted, in my opinion. IONQ cannot get above this prior support area, which is now seeming like it's turning into resistance. So just be mindful of that area up here. It gapped up. It has now filled that gap in here. Looks like it filled it on Thursday. Maybe it bases here, but it could have bounced out of this chop zone, failed, hit the declining 50 EMA, and now we're heading lower. So not an ideal look. EOSE got crushed on earnings. Little bounce, can't even get up to the high of earning the gap down day, and starting to head down again. So that's getting hit. MTSI, this was slowly grinding upwards. That got hit. A lot of things got hit last week. FRPT, Fresh Pet, I don't know. This is, I had a supply area here, and it's failing to hold it right now. I mean, I don't pay attention to this name. I don't know why this was popular, but it was. It's trending upwards, but it's hitting this anchored VWAP from wherever that's coming from. I'm going to delete it. Doesn't really matter right now. It's trending up. It's making higher highs and higher lows. I don't think it's super interesting. Target, I've been saying this, it looks like it's going to move over the past 2 weeks. It finally did. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated. It took a little shakeout to the 21, and then it popped, broke out of this range, and now it is retesting that range and pushing out. So Target actually looks pretty decent moving forward into next week. It just kind of depends on how the overall market responds to what's going on. You can see it popped into this prior resistance area, and then failed, but now it's back into this zone and pushing away. So Target looks pretty decent overall. eBay in a chop zone. USAR, this was a gap and trap. This was a buy the rumor, sell the news on that US investment or something like that. SMR, this looks absolutely terrible. Honestly, it looks lower. Look out below if it cuts this 1108 low. It looks like you can at least go retest it. So it looks like more downside there. FLNC looks like more downside there. LAR, look out if it breaks this 630 low. PayPal, this actually is getting bought up. Looking like it's working on a gap fill from the earnings gap down. Just be mindful that the 50 EMA is coming up just overhead here at the $50 area. You've gotten another, like 8% or so from where it is at. So if you're in a trade, 6.5% or so. If you're in a trade, just be mindful of that level right there of the 50 EMA that is declining. Otherwise, it might be going for a gap fill. VRT, I've been looking for this thing to move. It's just failing to move, especially after this earnings gap. So just be mindful. It's kind of chopping around. It's a little sloppy now. Viking Therapeutics, sloppy, choppy mess. Coin, nice little bounce up to the 50 EMA. Remember, each time it gets to the 50 EMA, it's getting rejected or near it. It's downtrending. MSTR is having a good time. Look to see where it bounced from before. You shouldn't be surprised. This area continues to be a level of interest for support. This basically, let's just call it 150 to 140 range. Bounce from there. So maybe it, comes back and digests around that 50 range, but it's got some work to do to actually genuinely turn around. GFS might be trending, might be trying to do a little trend reversal here. This looks pretty decent, actually. It's just short term right now. It's in a chop fest, but if it can hold this area and not fail, as long as it pulls back and holds this low right here, I think this low would be probably the biggest interest if you are trading this. So this area there, something like that. As long as it sets a higher low versus this, maybe it builds out and chops. Otherwise, it looks okay. Just short term, everything is a little dicey, I think. KLAC, absolutely getting hit. Get out of the way. CRDO, this looks terrible. Doesn't look good, that's for sure. Just making lower lows, now below this prior support area here. Came back and retested it, made a lower low, and probably now going to make a lower high. So CRDO does not look good. LIIT, another hot darling of the market, has gotten smoked, down 20% in the last week. It went down, let's see, yeah, it just like 14% on Friday. This is why you manage your risk on these names, especially when they run up like this. KTOS, this one is kind of chopping around. I thought it had a chance to base and go retest these highs, but it's not looking like it might not do that. HWM kind of stalling out here. CIEN, nice pullback to the 50, but it closed at its lows, probably more downside. CMPS looking lower, closing at its lows, getting hit. Rivian continues to be a heartbreaker, chopping around. Maybe one day it'll actually do something, but not now. FSLY, continuously having topping tails here, but it is holding above the short-term EMA. So it's been a nice gap. I don't know the story of why it gapped up on this earnings, but it's been holding relatively strong. So not too bad. Maybe you want to put your attention if you're looking for a long, if you must trade longs, maybe go there. But overall, coherent, not looking good. GLW is another glass company, basically. They have absolutely ripped, but now they are getting smoked. They're down 18% on the week. They got hit for 8.5% just on Friday itself. The nice thing is I do think this name is pretty good for longer term, especially with AI build-outs and things like that. Just short term, it's been absolutely, it's been rampant. If you caught the long, well done, especially since this breakout to the highs, you caught a 72-ish% move. So, don't be shocked that we're getting some selling, especially with these names that have been associated with AI and infrastructure and build out. They've made strong moves. So don't be shocked. Selling is sometimes healthy, sometimes reset. Some companies aren't going to make it. You got to be on your toes, which is why you can't just follow blindly on FinX, people. GE kind of failed to break out. I was looking for this low to hold, and it did not. GEV, this is going. Looks like the 50 EMA is next. Palantir has been getting a nice hit. A nice little bounce here. It's over the 50 EMA. I think the Iran war, everyone knows that they are involved in that, so I think that's probably why they're getting a little pump here. Overall, it's back in this range. It could accept back in here and continue to base. It could get smacked on Monday and head on lower. It's down 12% on the year. ARM looks lower, based here, failed at the 200 up here. It doesn't look good. AEHR at an interesting area here, retesting the breakout of this base here. I would, this is obviously, this area's got to hold. That would be ideal. Otherwise, it's a failed breakout and it might not go anywhere. SMCI continue to chop around, not do anything. Hood, not ideal that it broke out of this base and is now accepting back in it. It's below the anchor VWAP of the low here. So it's an area of interest currently right now. It is above the anchor VWAP from the earnings. But overall, it's just chopping around, failed to break out of that consolidation so far. So just be mindful of that. AMD at the lows of this support zone. It might just break here. So be mindful of that. Dell looks actually pretty decent. It's within this range. You got to look. I'll go into a shorter term time frame here. You got to look for it to either break out and retest this area, this 148 to 147 area, or if it breaks down near this 158, undercuts and then comes back within this low right here. And I don't know where it could go, but it's got to undercut and then reclaim. You might have a nice little support buy with confluence of the 8 EMA, with confluence of the gap up area. So that could be a pretty decent trade. Hit Dell here, moving into next week. All right, I just realized I did this entire thing on bar charts. Sorry if you, and without volume. This is how I look at my personal charts. I don't typically do my videos this way, so my apologies. I just realized that. But either way, you should probably, the reason why I do bar charts, if you're curious, is emotion. I try and take out emotion from all of my trading, and red and green bars tend to incite emotion. So if you just do open on the left, where price went is the body, and then where it closed is on that little tag on the right. That is, keeps it nice and simple, keeps red and green lights and stock casino type looks out of the process. All right. Anyways, hopefully that is helpful for you guys. Again, just be mindful who you listen to. Everybody's a pro on FinX. Everybody knows everything about anything that whenever anything pops up. So just be careful out there and always manage your risk. If you're a serious trader, you know these things. All right. Trade safe. We'll see you next week.